Okay, we're on Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph. The thing is that the sugi is a little bit complex. We're up to the Rabbi Yochanan, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down after the Mishnah. Okay, do you see that Rabbi Yochanan?
Yeah.
Okay, the problem is that I'm going to learn like the Mashbiach, who throws stuff in from Amud Beis over here. So take a look at Amud Beis. Where you? Okay. Here on Amud Beis you have. One second. In the on the third line, you have the full line, Meshivan on Amud Beis, on Mem Beis Amud Beis, right? Page 84. Yeah. You have the third line says Meshivan Davar Michutz Yerushalayim El Davar Sheb Yerushalayim. Now this line asks a question: do we take something which is outside Yerushalayim and draw a parallel to something in Yerushalayim? What's the question? Go back to Amud Aleph a minute. Go back to Amud Aleph. Amud Aleph says. One second. This is going back on the. Oh, okay, fine. The question it's Meshivan is I read it wrong with the wrong inflection. That's what threw me off. It should be Meshivan Davar Michutz Yerushalayim. It's proper to reconcile. Here, the Mashbiach learns the word Meshivan to mean reconcile. It's proper to reconcile Davar Michutz Yerushalayim al Davar Sheb Yerushalayim. It's proper to reconcile that which is out beyond Yerushalayim, meaning Meiser Sheni, that its parameters differ between outside Yerushalayim and in Yerushalayim, with the Korban Pesach, which is also so, which is connected to Yerushalayim. So therefore, whatever Richuk Makom is vis-a-vis Yerushalayim by Meiser Sheni should be Richuk Makom vis-a-vis Korban Pesach as well. He had Rabbi Lezer said Richuk Makom by Korban Pesach is outside the Hazara. Rabbi Kiva said Richuk Makom by Korban Pesach is Modim. None of them said Mamish outside Yerushalayim. So why don't we have an opinion like that? So going back now to the top line of Mem Beis Amud Beis, the fifth word in. Rabbi Yehuda Bar Pazi said, you know what? Fine. Let's learn like the Mandamar says, the taka, the shiur of Makam Rachok by Korban Pesach is also beyond the walls of Yerushalayim. Okay? Fine. Let's learn like that if you want to learn. So says the Gemara, going back to Amud Aleph, by the Rabbi Yochanan, no, lo Amar Rabbi Lezer Lepotra Mina Kores. You want to say that the shiur is outside Yerushalayim, just like Meiser Sheni? That's nice. That in fact would make sense. It's a very logical thing. Don't get us wrong. But the reason why we don't learn that way is because Rabbi Lezer learns that the criterion by Korban Pesach is whether you're outside the Hazara or not. The moment you're outside the Hazara, you're considered to be Rachok Makom, distant. It's going to pat you from Koretz as much as possible. By Meiser Sheni, there's no Chivei Krisus there. Malchus maybe, but there's no Chivei Krisus. So everyone can say that we're not looking for special kulos. But by somebody who missed doing Korban Pesach Rishon, you chayav Koretz, right? So we want to have the bare minimum chiddush of where you have somebody who is not doing Pesach Rishon for the wrong reasons, And we say, according to Beleza, that therefore we pater from immediately outside the Azora, because that is the most lenient in terms of preventing kores from devolving. But anybody, it's even just outside the Azora, much less, of course, if he's much less if he's outside Yerushalayim, much less if more than 15 mil away, he's pater from doing the Korban Pesach that year. He's not chayav kores. Is that clear what I'm saying? Rabbi Yochanan's trying to get you off the hook. Rabbi Yochanan says that which Rabbi Eliezer did not draw a parallel between Meiser Sheni, where the criteria of far away where you can redeem Meiser Sheni and close by where you cannot redeem Meiser Sheni is the walls of Yerushalayim. One Rabbi Eliezer say the same thing by Korban Pesach, that far close by where you have, of course, you don't bring the Korban Pesach is inside Yerushalayim, and far away when you don't bring the Korban Pesach, where you don't bring the Korban Pesach, your example Koris, that's beyond Yerushalayim, right? Why did he say that's beyond Yerushalayim, just like by Meiser Sheni, instead of set right outside the Azor, right? Set right outside the Azor. So that says the first one I had to say, as I read to you from the top line on base, at Taka. There is such a shita in Rabbi Eliezer that Derech Rechoka is beyond the walls of Yerushalayim. By Derech Rechoka by Korban Pesach is beyond the walls of Yerushalayim. I'm not getting through. Okay. There's the. I need a piece of paper. Is there any room to write on there? You have the Azor. Let's call it just the base on Mikdash. Then you have Yerushalayim. From Meiser Sheni up to the gates of Yerushalayim, Meiser Sheni may be redeemed. Right until you get inside the gates of Yerushalayim, may no longer be redeemed. We said by Korban Pesach that according to Rabbi Yoshua, the shiur is, this is all considered to be Derech Rechoka, which are part of Pesach Rishon. When you're inside, it becomes Derech Kerova. Okay? The question is why we don't draw a parallel between Meiser Sheni, where this is the limit, and Korban Pesach, where you say this is the limit. And we part from course if you're outside, you're right part of course if you're outside here, not just if you're outside here. Why the distinction? Is that clear, the question? So one answer is to say, Enochanami, the shiur of up to the base of Mikdash is a bogus shiur. The shiur is over here.
Now, the punishment for Meiser Sheni is not course.
It's not course. That's where Rabbi Yochanan comes along and says that could be the reason why Meko by Pesach we say that the Derech Rechoka is anywhere beyond the walls of the Azora is because we want to get him off the hook by Kores. Because had you said the same prayer as Meiser Sheni, so all this entire city would be a chiyuv Kores for him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No good? Okay? So therefore we want to get him out of Kores as much as possible. So says the Gemara, Amrei Blazer approach me now Kores. Amrei Blazer said Masisa Amrakain. There's a Tosefta by in the Korban Eder brings it down that the Tosefta says that Meiser Sheni is Meiser Sheni and Korban Pesach are in fact similar but different at the same time. That what's considered to be Derech Rechoka beyond the place where you can eat it. I guess Rabbi Lezer are arguing Rabbi Yochanan. I didn't even pay attention to that really, but the truth is Rabbi Lezer must be arguing Rabbi Yochanan. He's saying the Mishnah says that there's a dichotomy between there's no dichotomy between Meiser Sheni and Pesach, they're both the same. That they both go after the Malkam Achila. If they both go after Malkam Achila, they both go after the outer wall of Yerushalayim, because they both could be in the entire city. So Rabbi Lezer's argument saying that Masnisa Amra Kain is really the Brisa says that they both have the same premise. They both have the place where they can eat. Is that you have maximum places where they're allowed to be circulated. I guess that's the case. Yeah, that must be that he argues Rabbi Yochanan from this Brisa. Okay, I don't have any of the pshat. It certainly seems to be the pshat. So getting back to our Mishnah, Heshiv Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was on Hazoya Tochiach Shem Mitzvah. Hazoya we don't do in Erev Pesach, even though it's a mitzvah. So I asked the Gemara if Erev Pesach is considered to be is on Shabbos. Okay. So I asked Gemara, mitzvah lazos. What do you mean it's a mitzvah to be maser? Who said such a thing? So it says it's talking about a case where the 7th day comes out on the 14th day, meaning on the 14th day of Nisan, which comes out on Shabbos. Shilu Cholaya, where a weekday Hoya Mazel Olav, you would sprinkle on him the paraduma ashes, and Achakach Ba, V'shochet es Pischo, he then comes and shechtes Korban Pesach, V'nichlas V'ochlo, and he comes and eats it me by Erev, that night. We came with Shu Shabbos, Ve'ino Mazel Olav, however, since it's Shabbos, now to sprinkle paraduma water on him, needs some misakev minha mitzvos. So therefore it's impeded for doing the mitzvos. So we see that hazoy in that case would be a mitzvah in order to do Korban Pesach, yet nonetheless we do not permit to do hazoy under those circumstances.
Why did the Gemara even bother explaining that? I mean, that's rather obvious, isn't it?
No, that's obvious because we explained it that way the whole time, but the Gemara wasn't obvious at this point. Amr Rabbi Yoshe said, it's true, even the 7th day comes out on the 13th day of Nisan. Which came on Shabbos. If it was a weekday, he would sprinkle paraduma ashes, then the next day, on the 14th, he would come and shech the Pesach, come out and eat it that night. When he was tahar, right, became a Shabbos, since on Shabbos he can't sprinkle the paraduma ashes, means some misakim mitzvahs, he is impeded from doing whatever mitzvahs he's supposed to be doing. Ashkach.
Well, he could be sprinkled the next day, which is
what?
The 14th day is Sunday.
I think it has to be with,
then.
right, but I think we're talking about, it has to be done, according to opinion, it has to be done with the first 7 days. I think that's the case.
Was he Mitzorah?
Yeah, sure.
So, every Mitzorah that had a sprinkling on the 7th day, it was Shabbos. So what happens? The next day
They push it off.
Push off to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't they push off here to Sunday and it could be sprinkled and do the Korban Pesach?
Maybe Sunday's too late. What do you mean?
Sunday's the 14th day, 14th of Nisan, in this case. Shabbos was the 13th day.
Yeah.
And it was the 7th day of his Mitzvah.
So somebody's interested in what you're asking. I forgot who does. I remember what they say. We can't find it now.
Because the Gemara is implying that it's for following. You can't bring the Korban Pesach, even though he has it's Sunday, Erev Pesach, to be sprinkled and bring the Korban.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It's a Tomei Mace here, according to...
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. It's still true. It'll do it the next day.
angel, telling days for Shalom.
Maybe Dr. Perks to be the 7th day, that's what I'm thinking, although I don't remember if that's true or not. There must be the pshat, not to have 7 days in succession. I don't know any other pshat. What's going on here? So that's what it says. His 7th day comes on the 13th day of Nisan. Shchaz the Shabbos, so it comes on Shabbos. She'ilu chol hoya, were a weekday. Hoya mazel lov, he would have a spring on him. Ulamachor above shochi laws peacefully. You could come and shut the Pesach. Nilas ochler. In coming the night became a Shabbos. Vein mazel loves the Shabbos. You can sprinkle nimtzah b'tarkim in our mitzvahs. And again, I don't know the answer for your question. Just to say that he has to do tafka on the 7th day. No other answer. I'm stumped. So in any event, says more further. Now we read the whole first part of the Gemara when we read Amud Aleph. Ask the Gemara now in the 4th line. V'is bar Nosha Amar l'Rabbi o chiluf. A general question, Rabbi Akiva. How can Akiva be so chutzpahdik to say to his Rabbi, oh, maybe you got to switch around? Doesn't mind know. He had to use these tactics. He was in dire straits. Fisher Rabbi Lezer Malamdo Bar Lezer was teaching to himself, taught him. Shein, it should be a type, which shouldn't be chagig. It should be Shein Hazoya Dochel Shabbos. That Hazoya is not Dochel Shabbos. You can't sprinkle a bar Aduma ashes on Shabbos. These by I'm sorry, when they were discussing this, Rabbi Lezer denied it, so therefore he had to jog his memory. That's why he said to Mochila, perhaps the opposite is true, that you can do Azoya, not Shchita. Just to go to his memory to try and remind him that he's saying it wrong. Tani, we learned, Rabbi Lezer, Shabbos. It's like Shchita push off Shabbos. Kach machshirei Shchita, so to preparing for Shchita, grinding the knife, sharpening the knife, etc. During the Shabbos push off Shabbos. Rabbi Akiva said, lo yamamata b'Shchita, the reason why Shchita is during Shabbos, Shiv shor lasos me'erev Shabbos, can do right before Shabbos begins. That's why during the Shabbos, that's why it pushes off Shabbos. Tomach Shchita is supposed to preparations for Shchita. Shiv shor lohem lasos me'erev Shabbos. You could have done it from before Shabbos. Ain't doichin as Shabbos. They do not push off Shabbos. Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer says, how can you say that, Rabbi Akiva? What about Imurei Tzibur Yochiru? What about Korbanos Tzibur? What about Korbanos Tzibur? Shabbos. He could do it after Shabbos. Now, Korbanos Tzibur is not referring obviously to the Shechita of the korban itself. Can't do Shechita of the korban after Shabbos. What's it referring to? The Aktoras Imurim. Right? The Aktoras Imurim could be done after Shabbos. Yet nonetheless, they push off Shabbos. If there are things which are peripheral to Shechita after Shechita, the Aktoras Imurim is Dochel Shabbos. So too to the things which are peripheral to Shechita before Shechita, such as cutting off its wart, or being Mechutz Atchum, they should also be Dochel Shabbos, right? So it says more very again. Rabbi Akiva said name. Bet you know Rabbi Akiva knew the word name. Of course he knew the word name, right? Because Rabbi Akiva said Ma'amachshir Shechita. Machshir Shechita are different after Shechita. Dochel Shabbos, they push off Shabbos. Why? Shekvar Docha Shechita Sa Shabbos, the door was opened. Shabbos already nidche for the Shechita, so you can continue to the Machshirin. However, Yidochu Machshir Shechita, Livnei Shechita, you want the Machshir Shechita to be Dochel Livnei Shechita, V'adayin, normally spelled with an ayin, Adayin, Lo Docha Shechita Sa Shabbos. Shechita hasn't yet pushed off the Shabbos, right? So how can you push off Shabbos? So you can't do Machshir Shechita before Shabbos. Before the Shechita itself on Shabbos. Another interpretation, cute chap. Shim Yimsa Zevach Pasul. How can you do Machshir Mitzvah before you shech the korban? What do you find out afterward? The korban is Pasul. All your malacha was for naught. Right? So that's why Tavar Hashem says Pasul needs to do the Shabbos lo shchita and push up the Shabbos without shchita. So then it wouldn't have, in other words, without a proper shchita. So that's why you do not do machshirim before well, here too you don't do shchita beforehand because you don't do shchita before. Don't do machshirim mitzvah before shchita. You don't do machshirim mitzvah before shchita because I'm getting mixed up. You don't do machshiri shchita before shchita, says Rakir, because maybe the animal is going to end up being a treif or whatever the case may be, so it's not considered to be a valid shchita. So therefore,
you find the animal and you've done all this machshiri.
Right. So therefore, machshirim are not doicha, because suspicion maybe you find something wrong with the animal afterwards. Okay. So. Ask more Gabi Mila, even though it doesn't say the word Mila, it should say Gabi Mila. The Carbonator brings down Gabi Mila Ma'isach. Why are Machshiri Mila Doicha Shabbos before the Mila themselves? They're after all not afraid we're going to find the kid treifa or no good, right? So why are there Machshiri Mila not Doicha Shabbos? So Gabi Mila Ma'isach Meimar. So there's more there too. It's problem. Shem Yechla Tinoikus. Maybe the kid gets sick. When he was Doicha Lo Mila, and you're heating up hot water, even though you didn't need them for the bris milah. Well, all right. What about the following case? Mizbeach shnafa b'Shabbos and Mizbeach falls on Shabbos, right? Harei ein roilim no sameesmo. You can't build it from yesterday, right?
Because it fell on probably on Shabbos.
Yeah, I read it wrong though. It should be Mizbeach shnafa b'Shabbos. Or Mizbeach which fell on Shabbos. Why can't you rebuild it on Shabbos? Right? What's going to be wrong? What possibly be wrong? Once it's rebuilt legitimately. So why are you not allowed to build it on Shabbos? So there's Gemara. Harei eno roy livnos meso, because you could have built the house yesterday. You build yesterday. That's machshirei shchita lifnei shchita, and it's not an imperative.
No, but the Mizbeach fell on Shabbos, didn't it? So how could you have built it yesterday? It was built yesterday and was okay. It fell on Shabbos.
Yeah, there's a typo here. Yeah, the Carbonator throws it in. Mid Mizbeach roy livnos miasmo. Right before the next Agatzmucha, he says, it's true this Mizbeach only broke on Shabbos, but you could have built a Mizbeach on Shabbos. Make sure you have a backup Mizbeach. It's not, don't, these are not essential. Right? So therefore, make sure you have backup Mizbeach, make sure you have rooms rented, so therefore you don't have to fall on any term. Right? Hagatzmucha. I said rooms, I'm sorry, not rooms. Make sure you have Mizbeach. Or is that the rooms? I don't know. All right. Says when God's. Let's try another one. And Shanodli Abolis. Rabbi Akiva says he's now allowed to cut off a wart. What about if the wart grew on Shabbos? Harein Aroi L'Chotcho. Mitshumi Me'erev Shabbos. You can't cut off before Shabbos. So in that case, it's not something you could have done. So why can't it be Doicha Shabbos? So it says no. Mini Abolis really Chotech Masmo. You should have searched and destroyed warts yesterday, right? Even though this one rose on Shabbos, but Lamaisa, since the concept of searching and destroying warts exists on a weekday, so therefore it's not Doicha Shabbos.
It probably maybe means that these warts don't grow overnight, so to say, and that it could have been at least.
Well, they wouldn't need the word mean. Why would you need the word mean? Mini Abolis means a type of wart.
How could you be incipient stage of
Maybe. Look, you could be right. So I certainly can't prove you wrong. Agatzmucha. I don't know if that's enough. But what about the 7th day of Hazoyah comes on Shabbos? It must be, we were saying as you came in tonight, that Hazoyah has to be done on the 3rd and 7th day. If you miss the 7th day, you got to start from scratch. Okay, so what about when the 7th day comes on Shabbos? It's not Mechshir Mitzvah, you could have done me Bod Yom. So why could you on Shabbos? There's my rain and Roy Lasos Berev Shabbos, so you know it's coming. Minasoy Roy Mesmo. This guy wasn't suitable yesterday, but somebody was suitable yesterday. So therefore it's not unique to Shabbos, therefore it's not Doicha Shabbos. Amosai Mevini Mo Chagiga. When can you bring Korban Chagiga with the Korban Pesach? Bismanchu Ba B'chol, when the Korban Pesach is being sacrificed on a weekday, B'tara, and buried by his Torah, Uven Muat, and it's being done by people who don't have enough meat to eat elsewise. That's why they make a chagiga as well. However, bismanchu babatuma, when what?
Shabbos.
B'Shabbos, when it comes to Shabbos. In other words, the Arab base comes on Shabbos when he would have sacrificed the Chagiga. But Meruba, there are a lot of people there. Over Tumah. What's the Tumah?
So it's everyone's tummy, so you just bring the korban Tumah Trubetziba.
Oh, and Tumah Trubetziba, right.
So you don't bring a chagiga?
Right. When it comes to Tumah, they can't bring a chagiga with the Korban Pesach. You have to eat just from the chagiga. It's not there any other mitzvah. Chagiga is any other lineage. Chagiga is a bar minatzon. Chagiga comes from the tzon, from sheep, mina bakar, even from cattle, mina kvasim, from whatever the sheep, mina izim, from goats, mina schorim, from males, mina kavos, mina chel shnei yom v'layla echad. And you can be eaten for 2 days and 1 night, which means Erev Pesach, the night of Pesach, and the following day. Tani, we learned Chananya Arbosar Chagigas Arbosar. Tani Chagigas Arbosar, the Chagiga, the 14th day of Nisan. Haisa Ba Mina Meiser can come from Meiser Sheni, from Meiser Sheni funds, right? Rabbi Yaakov Baracham Shem Shmuel Barabba said Zosmershu Rishus tells it's an optional thing. In Tamer Chova, because it was a mandatory thing. So which is mandatory, you can't be bought from Meiser Sheni. Meiser Sheni is not really your money. Even though Meiser Sheni is not Mom Gavoa, does belong directly to God, but still it's not so, which is wholly yours, so you can't bring that which you're mandated to bring from Meiser Sheni money. Ameris Meiser Shubu Shus in name of Chavadu Shubu Chav Merubeza. Tani Chagiga Aboyim HaPesach. The Chagiga which comes Korban Pesach is eaten first. Kadei Sheachal Pesach Lasol, so the Pesach should be eaten when the person is satiated. So that's more of Loyachal Pesach Sova. Don't eat Pesach when you're satiated. Who said you have to be satiated to eat Korban Pesach? There's more Rabbi Yisrael Boom Shemra Yaakov Dasye Shaloy Over Day Shvias that's unless you break a bone. Tani, we learn Chagiga Aboyim Pesach it's a Misberes Ima. You bring the Chagiga with the Korban Pesach. When you eradicate the Korban Pesach the next day, you have to eradicate the Chagiga. Says more what? Isa Chamei Chagiga Nechel. So come, let's come see Chagiga Nechel. So Shnei Yomi Pesach Nechel Chatzos. Tamar Alchein. Chagiga is eaten for 2 days. Pesach only eaten till Chatzos. So how can you say when you burn one you have to burn the other? Pesach time is much shorter, right? Says more Bola V'Amol Shulchano. So about where they're both on the table at the same time, so they're boleh from one another. They absorb taste or substance from the other, so therefore you have to give it the chumrah, right? Hatavshil noli moyim hashulchan etzirchen levisbar imo. The stuff which is on the table with you has to when you have a tavshil noli mimo hashulchan, this is really a new thing. When you have pots which come up with you on the table, etzirchen levisbar imo, they have to be eradicated with the that they eradicated with the meat, whether it's shloim, whatever the case may be. So even the vegetables acquire the halacha of the stuff which is there, the Korban Pesach. Why is that? Because they're boler from each other. They all absorb the taste of each other. Is that clear?
No. They absorb the taste from each other by being next to each other?
Mm-hmm. Chashash, we're afraid of that. Okay?
Well, don't you just say Rechalat Nusini anyway?
Yeah, but the substances might touch here.
Substances.
Right. On my basi Adamras teacher us ahin do choyvet. Some of you eat chametz. Udaita mechol kupani wants to eat meat. Tzarich mevar pieces. He has to first get rid of the meat, the bread which he ate when he was eating the cheesy stuff, right? Because it's already considered to be the bread which he ate with the
Is it chometz easy? It's chometz.
yeah, it's milk, cheese, yeah. Somebody eats cheese and he wants to eat afterwards meat, he has to get rid of the bread which he ate with the cheese because he can take the cheese flavor on. Not just cheese flavor. That's Reicha Milsa, the cheese substance it can take on. Okay, why is that? Because if you put it on the table, you're not medactic, so things will start jostling each other, moving next to each other. That's the problem. Okay? If you shechted the Pesach shlo lishmo for the wrong reason, b'Shabbos on Shabbos, chayav v'lo b'chatos, you have to bring a chatos. B'shar kol zvachim, because the carbon is possible. So this reason, Erev Pesach comes on Shabbos, you're sacrificing a carbon puzzle, right? V'shar kol zvachim sheshachtan v'shein Pesach, any other carbon shechted for the purpose of Pesach, im einam if they're not suitable to be Pesach, then you are chayav. This is talking about other korbanos who shall the purpose of Pesach. Let's say one of them was a cow, right? Can a cow become korban Pesach?
No.
So of course it's your chayiv. Right, lezim b'chayiv chatos. Rabbi Yeshua Poder Yeshua says, for example, why? Because nevertheless you're told b'dvar mitzvah. You might be a big am ba'aretz, but you thought that a cow could become a korban Pesach, so therefore you're told b'dvar mitzvah. We can't make you chayiv. So it says, it says, my Pesach I make you a kav chomer. My Pesach shumutzah lishmo Pesach, which is permissible if you done it for the right reasons. Shishina shmo, when you change and make it done the wrong reasons, you're chayiv. Right, for having desecrated Shabbos, when Shabbos came here Pesach. Zvachim, karbonos, shem asun l'shmo, which are forbidden to sacrifice on that Shabbos. Ksheshina shmo, when you change your name, eino din shu chayav, is not kav chodesh chayav, right, for changing the name. Rabbi Yeshua said, no comparison. When you change the Pesach to something else, that's not Tov B'dvar Mitzvah. You're Tov B'dvar Issur, you want to change it for the wrong reason. Tov Mitzvah as opposed to Zvachi, Karbanas, Sheshina Medavar Muti, who changed the other Karbanas for the purpose of a Pesach, which is Muta that day, that's called Tov B'dvar Mitzvah. Amalei Rabbi Elazar said, what about Imurei Tzibur Yochichu? What about the korban sibur which are brought on Shabbos? Shem mutar lishman, that you're allowed to shech them for the right reasons. V'ashochet lishman chayav. I'm sorry, shem mutar lishman. Yeah, you're allowed to shech a tamid on Shabbos, but if you shech something to be a tamid, you're chayav, right? So same thing. If you shech something for the purpose of Pesach, it should be chayav as well, right? No idea.
If you shechted to be a Talmud,
Yeah.
why are you chayav? Because the coin is supposed to shecht it? Or?
Yeah, it's not your mitzvah.
Okay.
So I'm like, Rabbi Yeshua said, "Lo mamati be murei tzibur sheish lehem kitzba." The reason why the reason why murei tzibur by korban tzibur, you have this halacha that it's that somebody else shechted to that for the prayer purpose is no good, is because they have a limit to a day. Anything beyond that is doesn't fit into it. So I is supposed to pay so shein lo kitzba, which has no limits. Rameir says, you know what? Even if you shech for the purpose of Talmud, you're potter as well. Or the potter, you don't have to shech for the purpose of something which is a korban yachid. You need to be potter to be shech to your korban for the purpose of a korban tzibur. Masez Amar Maslisa Biodea Bilboshu Pesach Shach L'Shem Shlamim. Now I'm just talking about a case you knew it was a Pesach and you shech for the purpose of Shlamim. And that way, since you uprooted its purpose and you made it L'Shem Shlamim, that's why you're chayev. That's why you obviously did. You was not told b'dvar mitzvah because you thought you took a Pesach and you made it something else. What about, this is a complicated case, not so complicated, but I'm going to teach you nobody's pshat, except this is a combination of the Mashbiach and Pnei Moshe. Actually, I'm teaching the Mashbiach straight. The Mashbiach is a combination of Pnei Moshe and the Ridbas. That's really what I meant to say. So, actually, I'm not doing that either, because I'm going to change, Mashbiach changes the gear, so now I'm not. So this is my pshat again. This is a fascinating case. This is the way the Mashbiach explains it at this point. He knew that his korban he was supposed to bring a shlamim. B'shachto l'shem Pesach it should be, not l'shem Ola. He knew it was a shlamim, and he shechted for an Ola, and now of course it's a shlamim again, right? Oh, shach l'shem Pesach. Sorry, he knew it was a shlamim. A shel l'shem Pesach. So Raimon Amar.
On Shabbos.
On Shabbos. Raimon Amar yesh bas yoso mitzvah. Or it says it's a mitzvah. Again, it was a Pesach. No, I was wrong. It was a Pesach. He thought it was a shlamim, and he shech l'shem Pesach anyway. That's the case. It was a Pesach. He thought it was a shlamim, but he shechted for Pesach anyway. So I don't know if he's a Russia moron Russia, whatever the case may be, but he's a shlemazel. He tried to passel, and he couldn't passel the stupid korban, right? I can't say about korban stupid. See, that shows I'm truly asleep. He thought he was going to take the korban, and he's going to take korban, which is a Pesach, change the shlamim. No, the opposite. He thought it was a... No, it was a Pesach. I'm wrong again. It was a Pesach, and he had in mind, and he thought it was a shlamim. It was a Pesach. He thought it was a shlamim, and then he decided, and he made it l'shem Pesach anyway. Okay, so he wanted to do it right. He wanted to make a korban Pesach out of it, but he was afraid it's not going to work because it's a shlamim. Unbeknownst to him, it really was a Pesach. Got it right now. He thought it was a shlamim. It really was a Pesach, but he shechted l'shem Pesach anyway, even though he thought it was a shlamim. So in that, shlamim Pesach, Ramona yesh bas yoso mitzvah. Ramona says you get a mitzvah, meaning it works. It's considered lishma because it was a Pesach, and you thought you shech l'shem Pesach. You thought it's a shlamim? That's not a problem. Okay.
The end result was he shechted l'shma.
The beginning and end are good. Rabbi Yossi argues ain't a bas yoso mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah because you thought it was a shlamim. So that's shlo l'shma. You shech l'shem Pesach just because you were Russian. You shech the shlamim l'shem Pesach. It's not going to necessarily make it a Pesach.
So does Rabbi Yossi make him chayev? Is he chayev v'chatas?
No, because he was told b'dvar mitzvah. He thought because he thought he could make it a Pesach. Now says more Elei Tzibur Yashbi.
Both saying this in Rabbi Yeshua.
What?
They're both saying this in Rabbi Yeshua.
Both Rabbi Yeshua, right? Elei Tzibur. The thing is like this, right? Rabbi Mona brings a raya for himself that it works. Elei Tzibur, you have rounds which are bought by the Tzibur and Rashi says they're brought together with the bread on the lechem, the shtei lechem on Shavuos. But you thought they weren't rams, you thought for the carbon tamid, obviously, right? But here it brings down from the carbon 8, it's talking about a case where they're brought for shlomim, stam. So you had the 2 rams are brought as olah, and the two sheep are brought as shlomim. Okay? So you had Elei Tzibor, She'esava Shein Kvasim, you thought that they were rams, which should have been olos. You thought they were sheep, which should have been shlomim. V'shach l'shem Elei, but you slaughtered them for the purpose of rams. Okay? Again, the shlamazel factor, okay? Shem l'olo tzibor Shem Elei, but they work anyway. They do work as rams, right? So they were rams. You thought they were sheep, but you shech l'shem rams. They work as rams. The same thing should be true here about some Pesach. You thought it was Shlomi, but shech l'shem Pesach, the same thing. The Tanya came, we also learned this is a brayso. If you had the rams, you thought they were sheep, the shech l'shem elim, you shech them for the purpose of rams. For they work for the purpose, the valid purpose. Period. New case, although it's still continuum. Now, really, here starts, and we're talking about the Mishnah, which says that anything else is a shechler for the purpose of Pesach, on Erev Pesach, to Machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Okay? On this we say, Masnisa b'sover bushu Pesach. I'm just talking about where you thought it was a Pesach, v'shachtu l'shem Pesach, and you shechler the same purpose of Pesach. Now, it could have been a cow, and that's Machlokas Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. You thought a cow could be a Korban Pesach. Eliezer says you're an idiot. Rabbi Yeshua says it's Tobit Var Mitzvah. But it's talking about you thought it was a Pesach, Shech L'Shem Pesach. What about Hayatei Bushu Shlomim? You thought it was a Shlomim though. Elishu Sover Loma Shemutz L'Shah Shlomim Pesach Shem Pesach. But you think you can change Shlomim for the purpose of Pesach? Right? Mona Mar Ein Bas Yosem Mitzvah. Mona says it doesn't work. Can't change it. Rabbi Yosem Bas Yosem Mitzvah does work. That changes it. The fact that you say that it's it's what you thought of Shlamim is a Pesach, it does work. Now, again, our Mishnah is talking about where it's not Roy, and that's Malchus Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shua. What Rabbi Yossi Mano arguing is where it was Roy, so Shlamim which was of a suitable kind. Can it then become Korban Pesach or not? Can it be oikered from being a Shlamim make a Korban Pesach Erev Yom Tov? And we passing it can. You can't take a shlomi and make it into a Korban Pesach. Okay? So we passing like Rabbi Mona. Like Rabbi Yosa. And that's what the Gemara says, we start with the Rabbi Mona b'kad mesa. We want to be maker by both cases. Therefore, in the case of the mouth, where you thought it was a Pesach, you thought it was shlomi shel l'shem Pesach, there we passing like Rabbi Mona, that he's maker. And in Omer Beis, where you took a shlomi and shel l'shem Pesach, you were okay and made a Pesach. There we also pass on like Rabbi Yosa, Ba'achronaisa, who's Mekel in that case. So we always are Mekel and say is whatever can make Lishma, at least and L'Shem Pesach should make it that way.
Why is Rabbi Yosa Mekel in this case and was Machmir in the other case?
That's a very good question. And as a matter of fact, that's why some people change the entire Girsa here. Mashbiach changed the Girsa topsy-turvy because of that. But you have to say that Rabbi Yosa, that's really Imamish Mashiach for that one question. Why was Rabbi Yosa is Machmir in the first case and Mekel in the second case. For that he changes all the Girsos and moves mountains for that. But the truest one can give is Svara. Rabbi Yosa says over there in the first case he didn't have in mind to be it was a Pesach. You thought it was a Shlomim, but he Shech L'Shem Pesach. One could say it was a case where he didn't have in mind to be Oker. He didn't have in mind to do Akira. But here, in this case we're talking about over here, that you're allowed to change Shlomi and L'Shem Pesach, you had in mind L'Shanos, to do an Akira, and that's what makes all the difference. There, Namah, if you had in mind to do an Aveira, you thought you were taking Shlomi and Shech L'Shem Pesach. But here you had in mind L'Shanos, and that's where Rabbi Yossi and Amrav could say it's possible, because you had in mind L'Shanos. You had in mind to do an Aveira, not to change it, but to abuse it. Whereas here you had in mind to change it, and that Rabbi you could say the change is not a valid change. Okay? So anyway, they said, Hata the Rabbi Eliezer to Tuva the Rabbi Yoshua. Hata the Rabbi Eliezer, Leisa does, sorry. Leisa the Rabbi Eliezer to Tuva Rabbi Yoshua. That's Rabbi Eliezer asked Rabbi Yoshua. It's not a good kasha. Now what did Rabbi Eliezer ask Rabbi Yoshua? He said, Rabbi Lezer asked Rabbi Yeshua, by Pesach, which you change its name to Davar Asur, that right. Rabbi Lezer said if Lezer said that if Korban Pesach, that's mutter for its purpose, when you change its name, you're chayav. Zvachim that are also for that purpose, when you change your name, is certainly chayav, right? So he might say, no, Korban Pesach, if you change your name to chayav, because everybody knows today you're not supposed to make Korban Pesach. So if you change it to something else, that's not Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah. Rabbi Lezer says, there's no concept of Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah. Come off it, Rabbi Yeshua. If when you change the pay, something else, if you would change the Pesach, whose time it stays something else, you're chayav. Certainly, even though it should be shechted today, certainly you're chayav, you shech something else for the purpose of Pesach, because it shouldn't have been shechted today. That was Rabbi Lezer's Kav V'chomer. Rabbi Yeshua could refute that very easily. He could say, if you shechted a Pesach, l'shem something else, that's not Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah, because everybody knows that today is the day of Pesach. Today is Erev Pesach. Of course you have to shech l'shem Pesach. But if you shechted something else for the purpose of Pesach, in that case, it's Taka Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah, because you thought you were doing the mitzvah of the day. Okay? So that's it inside. Again, I mean, Leisa the Rebbe Leisa to Suva Rabbi Shua, the Yoch Limer, you could say, Lei, Hechta Mishveni Mi Dova Shadarko L'Chalef, how can you cast your kasha with something which is normally switched, meaning the case of where you checked the other korbanos of Shem Pesach, Al Dova Shein Dova L'Darko L'Chalef, it's something which doesn't normally happen, you check the Pesach Shem something else, that would be completely irrational. That's why I draw a distinction between the two. Furthermore, V'lo Rabbi Yeshua to Suva Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Yeshua's response was not about response to Rabbi Lezer, because Rabbi Yeshua said, "What about Imurei Tzibur? What about Korbanos Tzibur? Right there, there by Korbanos Tzibur, there is a concept of that's Rabbi Lezer's speech about Imurei Tzibur. What's Rabbi Yeshua's response? Rabbi Yeshua said, "O Pesach Shishina Shmo B'Davar also Tam Mitzvah Shishina B'Davar Mutter." Pesach. The reason why Pesach is not a valid Pesach is not Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah is because you change its name to something which is not relevant. Whereas something else, Shech L'Shem Pesach, changed its name with something which is relevant. That was his Kash Rabbi Lezer. So Rabbi Lezer himself could respond on that. The Yochlamar Meimar Arei Pischo Sho Ruvain. It's not always true, because if you take the Pesach Ruvain, Sheshach L'Shem Shimon, where you shechted for the purpose of Shimon, Harei Shnei L'Davar Kosh, you shechted for something which is also suitable for that day. The Tamer Chayev, but there you say Chayev. Why I say it's Chayev? Because Shinu Bailim is not considered to be an exemption. It's not considered to be Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah, I guess, because Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah is only if you shech L'Shem Pesach for the right person, right? But you shech Pesach for the wrong person, so it's not considered to be a proper Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah when you're chayiv.
Well, you could say he didn't know that you're not allowed to have Shinu. He knew about the concept of Pesach, but he didn't know Shinu B'Ayim.
Rabbi Yeshua might say, Rabbi Lezer could say, I don't hold that way. Rabbi Lezer could say that L'maisa, I see that the fact that you shech for the purpose of Pesach in and of itself is not simple Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah. Because if you shech for Shimon instead of Reuven, that's not considered to be Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah. Rameir Meir, getting back to Mishnah, Rameir Meir Shochet L'Shem Morei Tzibur Potter. So I'm shech for the purpose of from the Korban Tamid of Morei Tzibur, of Korbanos, so the Tzibur is Potter if he does it on Shabbos. Lezer said, that which Rameir says, Afilu Ego, even you shech the cat for the purpose of a Korban Tamid, which of course Korban Tamid has to be a sheep, it's still going to be Torah B'Dvar Mitzvah. Achmamina Tati, you see two things from Rabbi Lezer's statement. Achmamina, first of all, you see that Davar, it should be Sheyesh Lo Kitzba, according to the Korban Davar Sheyesh Lo Kitzba, even though Korban Tamid, there's a limit, how many Korban Tamids can you sacrifice a day to? So I might think if you talk about Korban Tamid, there's a limit, because, everybody knows Korban Tamid, there aren't very many. And nonetheless, we say, even Davar Sheyesh Lo Kitzba, you can do as many. You can you can shech for it as many times as you want. It's still be considered to be tov b'dvar mitzvah, right? But davar shein dargus chayv, and even if it's a cow, which normally doesn't get mixed up, and you assume it's a tamid, even in that case, you consider to be tov b'dvar mitzvah. And yesh bas yaso mitzvah. It's talking about that you're tov b'dvar mitzvah if you do it in such a way. In other words, you take a cow, shech l'shem tamid, and you do it 3-4 times, even though they all can't be tamidim. That's also considered to be tov b'dvar mitzvah koramir. Although later on they won't argue that, but that's what he's saying. Now, next line, it should be Rabbi Yochanan. Mashbiach changes to Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan Amar yesh b'as yasa mitzvah. You know what's considered to be tov b'dvar mitzvah? Chigon yivimton v'nido ba'oleh. You have in bed with you your wife, or your Yavama who's in need, and you have relations with her. So that's a tov b'dvar mitzvah, because you actually did a mitzvah. Which mitzvah did you do? What? Yakum, Yibum, right. So you did Yibum. You call it Yakum? Yakum Shem Achi. That's maybe I never heard of this before. So Konivimto Venido Boleh. Now that's Rabbi Yochanan. Again, he's where Mashbiach changed names. Reish Lakish Amar, what's ein bas yasa mitzvah? What's the case where it's not considered to be tov mitzvah? Kagon shnei shipurim, where you have two skewers. Echad shchuta ve'echad shalvei, one of kosher meat and one of treif meat. Ubikish lochel mizev achel mizev. He ate from he wanted to eat from one, instead he ate from the other. In that case, it's not tov b'dvar mitzvah. Why? Because is there a mitzvah here? Neither of them are mitzvah. Even to eat from the shchuta is not a mitzvah, right? Saying mitzvah to eat meat?
This was woolen meat.
Right. But what would be tov b'dvar mitzvah? If one was karbonos meat. And here's a big machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. So Rabbi Yochanan knows tov b'dvar mitzvah is only if you actually did a mitzvah. And of course, doing the mitzvah, you did an avera. It's almost like mitzvah ba'avera, right? But it's unintentional. You did intend to do a mitzvah, in the course of the mitzvah is an avera. You intend to be miyabim, in the course of that you boil a nida. But Reish Lakish holds, even if you didn't do a mitzvah at all, as long as there's a possibility that you could have done a mitzvah. Such as where the parallel case would be if you had, in fact, Lieberman brings this down here, if you had two women in bed, one your wife, who's a nida, and the other the yavama, and you had relations with your wife, the nida. So in that case, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's not tov b'dvar mitzvah, because you didn't do a mitzvah, right? According to Reish Lakish, it is tov b'dvar mitzvah, because even though you didn't do a mitzvah, there's a mitzvah in front of you. It's not like shchuta and the vela, where each one of them is, that even the shchuta is considered to be an optional, a dvar reshus and not a dvar mitzvah. Now, Masdisa Pliga, Rabbi Yochanan, the following Mishnah argues Rabbi Yochanan. Where does it say? It says, it should be shachach. You forgot. Umolet shel achar Shabbos b'Shabbos. You have a case where he has two kids. There's identical sugya, it appears in Masechta Shabbos. 2 kids. One is supposed to have his milah on Sunday and the other on Shabbos. You remal the Sunday kid on Shabbos and the Shabbos kid on Sunday, right? Rabbi Lezer Mechayev, Rabbi Lezer says you're chayev chatas, right? You're not tov b'dvar mitzvah. Rabbi Yeshua poter, Rabbi Yeshua paters you. How can Rabbi Yeshua pater you? Is there any mitzvah in front of you right now? Did you do a mitzvah? Excuse me. Did you do a mitzvah right now? No. You remal the Sunday kid on Shabbos, so I can say poter.
But he thought he was doing the mitzvah.
But according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's not enough. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you have to do a mitzvah, right? So it's a very interesting answer. The Gemara says, "Shmuel kaput kaya mar l'mocher yesh bas yasa mitzvah." You know what? There is a mitzvah here. It's not yet this man of the mitzvah. It's premature, but there is a mitzvah. It's like his yavama was a nida. Albeit in the yavama was a nida, right now there's a mitzvah, not just tomorrow. But here too, there's a mitzvah here. It's just that right now the mitzvah is not yet applicable. So that's still considered to be that the mitzvah and the avera are both excellent are both in the same goof at the same time. Okay. Now here begins really a new sugya. There's it's not really new, but there's a Lieberman back in Masechta Shabbos said that this sugya, which is parallel there, is made up of fragments from 3 different yeshivas, and that it repeats itself, and it's really true. So now we're going to the second phase in the sugya, which is kind of repeats. On Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yochanan said that that statement we just made, the statement of Tinokos, is going like Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir, Omar Davar Sheish B'Asiyos Mitzvah. Meir says something which has in a mitzvah, even though you didn't do it, which means you're patur, you're exempt from getting from kares or from korban. So therefore, the case which he's talking about is what happens if you were a kid who was supposed to have a bris milah on Erev Shabbos on Shabbos. So it's definitely a mitzvah there, right? So you're definitely patur. What if, however, you're a kid who's on Sunday on Shabbos, right? So there's no mitzvah there. If you're a Friday kid on Shabbos, so it's a mitzvah. It's just you did it at the wrong time. So that's considered to be top of our mitzvah in your potter. What if you mal a Sunday kid on Shabbos? It's a mitzvah chayev v'machlokas. In that case, it's a machlokas Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Like we just said, according to Rabbi Lezer, since there's no mitzvah right now, you're chayev. According to Rabbi Yeshua, since there'll be a mitzvah tomorrow, so that's to be top of our mitzvah in your potter. Rabbi Shimon Omer, he has a different. Rabbi Shimon argues. He says, "Davar sheish bas yoso mitzvah chayev." In a case where you Erev Shabbos, you did it on Shabbos, you're chayev. Hi, there's a mitzvah. Too bad. So what if there's a mitzvah? You still shouldn't have done it today, and there is no right of you to be doicha Shabbos because a kid from Erev Shabbos is not doicha Shabbos, so you're chayev. V'she'ein bas yoso mitzvah. What, however, about the case where there is no mitzvah, but meaning you were mal a kid from Sunday on Shabbos, so there's no mitzvah at all because the mitzvah is not tomorrow. Nevertheless, potter machlok is there; it's possible you're potter. Why is that? Because it's talking about a case where you have both kids in front of you, so, and you happen to mess up, and you did the Sunday kid on Shabbos and the Shabbos kid on Sunday. But there, even though you did no mitzvah on Shabbos, but there was your ticket to be Derech Shabbos was there. You see what I mean? Because you had a kid in front of you who was suitable to be doing on Shabbos. So you messed up, you did the other kid. But there were nitna Shabbos lidachos. So Rabbi Yochanan always looks criteria if you did a mitzvah. If you did a mitzvah, then Rabbi Yeshua paters you, right? And that's why if you did a kid, no, the other way around. Yeah, if you did right. If you did a mitzvah, for sure you're pater. Everybody agrees. If you didn't do a mitzvah, right, but tomorrow there's going to be a mitzvah, that's machlokas Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua. That's Rabbi Yochanan's perspective. Rabbi Shimon says the exact opposite. Even if you did a mitzvah, you're chayev. You didn't have carte blanche to be Dochel Shabbos today, because it's true, you had an Erev Shabbos kid on Shabbos, and it was a mitzvah then right now. But there was no right to be Dochel Shabbos, so in that case you're chayev a korban. But if you have a Sunday kid, then it's a machlokas, right? Then Rabbi Yeshua is going to pat you, and Rabbi Lezer is going to chayev you. Okay? Now Rabbi Yossi said, let's go a couple more minutes. Rabbi Yossi said, in the name Rabbi Yochanan, even though it says here Rabbi Yeshua, it's a typo, it should be Rabbi Yochanan, it says Sechur Shabbos. Tivi Rabbi Meir, according to Rabbi Meir, in the words of Rabbi Meir, we have the words of Rabbi Meir. He's going back to Rabbi Meir on Mem Gimel Beis. Meir said, "Ashrech l'shem imrei tzibur potter." Right. So Rabbi Lezer said back there in the third line from the bottom, even if it's a cow, Ashrech l'shem tamid your potter. Right. So he said, Rabbi Meir, who she has said tamim, not if it's a calf, only if it's actually a sheep. Uben shon and a year old and a shlomim, so it's suitable to be shlomim. V'roy l'shtan shem Pesach can be done for the purpose of Pesach. And he's going, of course, in the case not where you're shechting, only in that case, and you shechta l'shem mimurei tzibur on Erev Pesach, so which is suitable to be a Pesach, then you're potter. All right? Achmamina plus. This is right. Two things. He argues, of course. Previously, we said anything which is shechta for a korban tamid Erev Pesach goes, even if it's Shabbos, because you thought it was a tamid and you thought it was a mitzvah. But now he's saying only if it's suitable to be a Pesach, a shechta l'shem tamid, then you're potter. Why? Achmamino davar she'en lo kitzba. It's got to be that it's suitable for something which has no limit, because there are no limits to amount of pesachim you can shech that day. The davar which has to be does something, it should be shedarko lachlib, so which is switchable, so which had a heter for that day of some sort. What heter that it could have been a Korban Pesach. Then if you shech for the purpose of tamid, it's okay. And also it has to be davar sheish b'asiyos mitzvah, something where that day there would have been a mitzvah. Meaning it had been shech for the purpose of Korban Pesach. Because Korban Tamid, there's no mitzvah doing it. Itzlucha davar she'ein lo kitzba says more, what's considered to be something she'ein lo kitzba? What's the definition of that meaning? Itzlucha mean literally, how do you define davar she'ein lo kitzba? Rabbi Yirmiyah savar meimar shlo natna lo nasna Torah kitzba kam v'sachim dulos Shabbos choshon. Torah never gave a limit how many pesachim push off Shabbos every year. Rabbi Yesi Savar Meimar Shena Yochla Milyonim was Midavar Shena Kitzba, but you can't tell how many there are. It's impossible to count. We did that, have a straw poll, right, somewhere back then, but he said it's basically about to count. There's so many. Rabbi Yesi can have a mati li'il tinokos, but Rabbi Sveikos. Rabbi Yesi, when he used to compare this to the sugya of the questionable bris milas of Erev Shabbos, Shabbos and Sunday, have Amar, and then he said Yofel Limdan Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi Yirmiyah was right about davar she'ein bo kitzba, davar she'esh bo kitzba. Isel chamei b'sher yochla mona midyana, because by bris milah also it has to be something. It's also called davar she'ein lo kitzba. Now obviously you can count how many kids require a bris today. Rather, el shalom need not tire kitzba kam b'sachim yitchos rabbish chol shana mishana. Just like there over there is a case where we don't know how there's no limit to how many pesachim you sacrifice every year, so there's no limit to how many kids get a bris milah every year, and that's why if you switch up, it's switch kids, it's possible that you're still not chayav a korban, okay? Because that's the comparison of davar she'ein lo kitzba, davar she'ein lo kitzba. Amar Chizah said, one more line, David Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, who says that you have to have a mitzvah in front of you in order to be potter by Torah b'dvar mitzvah, so the potter shoyeh sham chabur achash lo shachta. The only way you're potter on Erev Pesach, right? Even if you shechted even if you shechted something which could have been a Korban Pesach, it has to be a case where it could have served as a Korban Pesach. And the only, because it has to be a case where nitna Pesach lidachos. So that means only as long as there's still a chabura which hasn't yet shechted. But if all the chaburas have already shechted, and there's no more license to be doicha Shabbos on that day, so then even if you shecht an animal which is suitable to be a Korban Pesach, it's not considered to be Torah b'dvar mitzvah. Again, Rabbi Shimon said on the top requires, in order to be considered Torah b'dvar mitzvah, not just that you had good intentions, but that those good intentions were done in a situation where Shabbos was able to be pushed off. So therefore, just like over there, it has to be that there's a kid on Sunday, that there's when you're doing the Sunday kid, there's a Shabbos kid there, right? And that's why if you do a Friday kid on Shabbos, even though it's a mitzvah, it's not considered to be Torah b'dvar mitzvah. So to here, when you're doing the Korban Pesach, even if it's a suitable animal, it's got to be a case where Pesach could still be pushed off. What's the case where Pesach could still be pushed off? Only a case where there is one chabura which hasn't yet done the Korban Pesach.
In this case, he's just shechting it for the sake of shechting. He's not doing it for his own chabura.
No, even he's doing it for his own chabura, and he's toeh.
Yeah. So that's the one chabura that still is...
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. It's got to be that at least his chabura. But even, let's say his chabura he didn't know. But there's still another chabura in the world which hasn't done it yet. So that also counts, and you still consider to be Torah Bar Mitzvah. Okay, we'll stop here for this evening. Tomorrow we start yet another yeshiva's version of the Sugya.